Hello everyone, welcome back to another PrizeCP Roblox Studio tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to put together a bunch of things that we have learned in the past into this one lesson. So we're going to go through the material a little quicker, and if you need more details on anything, you can refer back to our prior tutorials for more details. Today we're going to build a push button automatic door, similar to the ones you see at the airport or at the shopping center, where you press a handicap button and the door automatically opens. And then after a few seconds, it closes on its own. Alright, so let's get right to it. Here I have a wall. I have a wall too, and I have a door. Now I'm going to move my wall out a little bit so I can insert a hinge constraint. So I'm going to click on my model, menu tab, and I'm going to click on move to move my wall out a little bit. Now we're going to go to the constraints section. We're going to click on create, drop down, and click on hinge. My first, well, let me go in a little bit here. All right, let me try that again. Click on constraint, create, hinge. My first attachment is going to be on the wall, and my second attachment is going to be on the door. So attachment 0 is on the wall and attachment 1 is on the door. Now I'm going to rotate my attachment. So I'm selecting my attachment 0, click on rotate. Rotate it 90 degrees so that the arrow is pointing down. Same with attachment number 1. Rotate 90 degrees. Now click on hinge constraint. We're going to go to the properties window, go down, actuator type. We're going to select a servo. Scroll down a little bit. Angular responsiveness, we're going to pick 200. Angular speed is 1. Servo max torque, 1 million. And the target angle, we'll leave it at 0. Everything is done. We're going to click on the wall again, and we're going to move the wall back. So it's right next to the door, against the door. So the 2 hinges has to be at the same location. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to move this. I move out too much. And let me move up a little bit. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a button here so that players can click on the button to have the door automatically open, right? To do that, I'm going to go to my starter GUI. So let me see, starter GUI, we're going to click on the plus sign. We're going to add a Surface GUI. And I'm going to select the Surface GUI. I'm going to add an image button. The next thing I need to do is I need to select an adornee for the Surface GUI. Which part am I going to place my Surface GUI on? So I select my Surface GUI, and then I'm going to go to the properties window. I click on adornee, and now I'm going to select which part to be the adornee for the Surface GUI. So it's going to be this wall right here. All right, so basically I'm placing my Surface GUI on this wall, and now I still don't see my image button, which means the Surface GUI is on a different face of this wall. So I can see that I'm facing back. So I'm going to go to, with the Surface GUI selected, I'm going to go to the properties window, and I'm going to look for the face property. I think I just passed it right here. Right now it says front. I'm going to select back, and there it is. There's my image button. I'm going to relocate my image button to the bottom, closer to the ground here, so we can, reach it. Otherwise, if it's too high up, we cannot reach it, right? To make it more realistic, we're going to move it down. So I'm going to select the image button, and I'm going to go to the properties, the position property, and then I'm going to change the X and Y scale. So X scale, I'm going to use 0.1. So that's going to move it out away from the edge a little bit. And then Y scale, I'm going to use 0.5. And that brings it down. Now let's dress our button. So our button doesn't have an image on it. So we're gonna go to the home menu tab. We're gonna click on toolbox. I have this button image right here. So I'm just gonna right click and copy asset ID. And I'll go back to my image button. I'm gonna look for an image property where I can paste my button in, the ID in, hit enter, and there it is. Now I have the button for my door. The way this is gonna work is when a player presses this button, since my button is on the client side, right? I'm not gonna be able to open the door when the player presses the button. So what I need to do is I need to fire a remote event to the server side, and the server side is gonna open the door. So now let's go and create a remote event. We're gonna go to our replicated storage, click on the plus sign, and we're gonna select a remote event. Let's call it door. Let's now go to our button. We're gonna insert a script. So when the player clicks on the button, it's gonna fire a remote event to the server side. So I'm gonna go to my image button. I'm gonna add a local script. In our local script, let's first declare our remote event. So local, we'll call it door remote event. And we'll set that equals to game.replicatedStorage.door, which is our door remote event inside the replicated storage. Next, I'm going to declare my image button. So I'm going to say local. We'll just call it button equals to, and see my script is here. My image button is here. So it's just the script.parent. We're now going to check to see when the button is activated. So we're going to say button.activated. We're going to connect to a function. And our function is going to fire the remote event. So it's going to be door remote event fire server. We're firing this remote event to the server. On the server side, we're going to now go to our server script service. And we're going to add a script. Let's first declare our remote event. So we're going to have local. Call it door remote event. Same as the local side. Equals to game.replicatedStorage.door to reference to our door remote event. Next, we're going to declare our Hinge constraint. So local, we'll call it Hinge equals to, and let's see, where is our Hinge constraint? Our Hinge constraint is under the wall. So we're going to have game.workspace dot, let's see, next is the wall dot Hinge constraint. Now we're going to listen for the remote event being fired from the client side. So we're going to say door remote event dot on server event connect to a function. And once we get the signal that the remote event is being fired from the client side, we know that the client wants the door to be open. So we're gonna go and change we're gonna go to the Hinge constraint property. Let's see, the target angle. We're gonna change the target angle of this Hinge constraint, right? So our Hinge constraint is just hinge dot target angle. So initially the target angle is 0. We're gonna change it to 120. That's gonna open up the door. We're gonna wait for 7 seconds. So we're gonna leave the door open for 7 seconds, and then we're gonna close the door. So we're gonna change the Hinge constraint dot target angle back to 0. All right, let us now play and take a look. Where's my door? It's right there. And I see the button there. I'm gonna go to the door, click on the button. The door opens. Going through. And give it 7 seconds. The door closes on its own. Alright everyone, that's how you build a push button automatic door in Roblox. The same door similar to the ones you see at the airport, at the mall, everywhere you go. Thank you for watching and we will see you again in our next tutorial. Take care.